3 years into her marriage, Yu Chuan discovered she was pregnant. Overwhelmed with joy, she was about to rush to tell Xiao Xingji when she saw him return to the mansion with his childhood sweetheart, Kui Shuyao, and hand her a letter of divorce. "A Yuan, help me put on an act," he said. "Shuyao's husband took a concubine and betrayed her. She wants a divorce, but he refuses to let go and keeps pestering her. Only if she marries me will her husband give up." Yu Chuan stared at him in a daze, her ears buzzing so loudly she could barely hear her own voice. "You're divorcing me to marry her, then what am I to you?" She suddenly grabbed Xiao Xingji's hand and pressed it to her abdomen. "And what about this child? Am I supposed to become your concubine in the future, and our child a bastard?" Xiao Xingji froze for a moment, clearly unaware she was pregnant. Kui Shuyao's eyes turned red. She gently tugged at his sleeve. "Brother Xingji, I have nowhere to go. If you don't help me, I really will be dragged back." Her voice cracked. "I'm afraid I'll never have a good life again." Xiao Xingji's expression softened. He turned to Yu Chuan. "A Yuan, Shuyao is truly pitiful. Please endure this for a while." He waved for a servant boy and whispered a few instructions. Soon, a bowl of pitch-black medicine was brought over. "Safflower." Yu Chuan's face turned as pale as a sheet in an instant. "In half a month, I'll send you to a villa outside the city." Xiao Xingji's tone remained gentle, yet he spoke the cruelest words. "Once I marry Shuyao and things calm down, I'll come pick you up." He paused. "It's not the right time for a child now, otherwise, how would Shuyao's husband believe I'm sincerely marrying her?" "Xiao Xingji." Yu Chuan stumbled backward, clutching her abdomen tightly with both hands. "This is your own flesh and blood." She tried to run, but Xiao Xingji grabbed her wrist tightly. His palm was still warm, yet it made her feel as if she had fallen into an ice cave. "A Yuan, be obedient," he coaxed softly, his grip unyielding. "No." She struggled frantically, her hair disheveled, her hairpins clattering to the ground. Several rough old women stepped forward and pinned her arms and legs down firmly. The bitter medicinal juice was poured into her mouth. Yu Chuan choked and coughed violently, tears mixing with the medicine as they streamed down her face. She shook her head desperately, but the entire bowl of safflower medicine was still forced down her throat. Sharp pain surged through her body in an instant. She curled up on the ground, her fingernails digging deeply into her palms. Warm blood trickled down her thighs, spreading into a shocking red stain on her skirt. Her child was gone just like that. When she woke up, Yu Chuan was lying on a cold bed, a faint ache still lingering in her lower body. Xiao Xingji was guarding by her bedside. Seeing her open her eyes, he immediately took her hand. "A Yuan, it's my fault. I will definitely make it up to you doubly in the future." Yu Chuan's eyes were empty. After a long while, she pulled her hand back. "No need." Her voice was hoarse, as if she had cried all her tears dry. "I'll sign the divorce letter." Xiao Xingji was stunned. "You're not angry anymore?" Yu Chuan didn't answer. She silently took the divorce letter. When her brush touched the paper, her hand trembled violently, but she still wrote her name stroke by stroke. Xiao Xingji put away the divorce letter and comforted her softly. "It's just an act. I won't truly wrong you." With that, he turned and left for the government office. As he walked away, Yu Chuan stared at his tall, slender figure, clear and elegant as a bamboo shoot, and her heart ached so badly it felt like it would stop beating. 3 years ago, Xiao Xingji had been known as the most outstanding heir in the capital. He was handsome, gentle-tempered, and every gesture exuded the nobility of a wealthy family's son. His smiling eyes had stolen the hearts of countless young maidens. He and Kui Shuyao had grown up together as childhood sweethearts. He had once sincerely asked for her hand in marriage, but Kui Shuyao had chosen someone else. Later, he married Yu Chuan, who had admired him for years. For 3 years of marriage, he had treated her extremely well. She feared the cold, so he ordered silver-threaded charcoal to be burned in her room all year round, making it as warm as spring even in the depths of winter. She loved plum blossoms, so he planted the entire courtyard with plum trees, and whenever they bloomed, he would accompany her to admire them until late at night. When she coughed at night, he would personally boil medicine and stay by her side until she finished drinking it before going to sleep. She had thought he had let go of Kui Shuyao, but now, for Kui Shuyao's sake, He had not only divorced her but also personally killed their child. The moment that bowl of safflower medicine was poured down her throat, she finally understood. Perhaps from the very beginning, marrying her had only been a compromise for him. The only person he had ever loved was Kui Shuyao. If that was the case, she would fulfill his wish. In half a month, she would not go to the villa to wait for him to pick her up. Instead, she would fake her death and leave, disappearing forever. She would make him live in regret for the rest of his life, never forgetting that he had personally killed his own child and driven away the person who loved him the most. In the following days, Yu Chuan rested in her room. A maid carefully pushed the door open, holding a bowl of medicine in her hand, and whispered, "Madam, the heir sent someone to deliver a lot of things to Miss Kui again this morning, even the cloud brocade she likes, which was specially transported from Jiangnan by fast horse." Yu Chuan closed her eyes and said nothing. Seeing no response, the maid whispered again, "The heir also ordered the west wing to be renovated, saying that Miss Kui is not used to living in northern houses." "I know." Yu Chuan interrupted her faintly. "You may leave." The maid hesitated, then finally stepped back out. That night, Xiao Xingji personally brought a bowl of tonic medicine into the room. A yuan. He sat by the bed, his voice gentle. "Drink the medicine." Yu Chuan opened her eyes and looked at him. His eyebrows and eyes were still as handsome as a painting, but the eyes that had once only looked at her were now filled with the shadow of someone else. She silently took the medicine bowl and drank it all in one gulp. Xiao Xingji took the empty bowl and gently held her hand. "I've wronged you. You just had a miscarriage and your body is weak. I won't sleep tonight. I'll stay here to guard you." Yu Chuan pulled her hand back and closed her eyes coldly. Xiao Xingji said nothing more, just sat quietly by the bed. In the middle of the night, there was a sudden urgent knock on the door. It was Kui Shuyao's maid, her voice tearful. "My young lady is having a nightmare. She's in terrible pain and keeps calling your name." Xiao Xingji immediately stood up. "I'll go check on her. I'll be right back." Yu Chuan still kept her eyes closed and said nothing. She knew he would not come back. Once, when he had loved her, his eyes had only been for her. But now that Kui Shuyao was back, she was nothing. Early the next morning, when Yu Chuan woke up, the bed next to her was indeed cold. She reached out and touched the empty brocade quilt. A sharp pain suddenly pierced her heart, as if someone was gouging it out with a blunt knife. Little by little, for 2 days in a row, Xiao Xingji stayed with Kui Shuyao, only sending a servant boy to pass a message saying that he would stay with her for a few days until she got used to the Marquis's mansion, then he would come back. But Kui Shuyao never got used to it, and he never came back. On the 3rd day, Yu Chuyuan's body had recovered a little, and she could just barely get out of bed and walk around. Just then, Kui Shuyao came to visit. "Sister Chuyuan." She smiled and took Yu Chuyuan's arm. "The weather is nice today. Let's go out for a spring outing. We can also go to the temple to repay our vows." Yu Chuan pulled her hand back. "I'm not going." Kui Shuyao's eyes turned red, and she said pitifully, "I prayed before that I could escape from my husband soon. Now Brother Xingji has helped me fulfill my wish. I should go repay my vow." She bit her lip. "Sister, you're not feeling well. Going out would help dispel the illness." "I said I'm not going." Tears immediately rolled down Kui Shuyao's cheeks. "What's wrong?" Xiao Xingji pushed the door open. Seeing Kui Shuyao crying, his brows furrowed. "Brother Xingji," Kui Shuyao sobbed, "I wanted to ask Sister Chuan to go on a spring outing with me, but she..." Xiao Xingji looked at Yu Chuan, his voice firm. "Shuyao is right. Going out to relax would do you good." With that, he unceremoniously pushed Yu Chuan onto the carriage. The wheels rolled over the bluestone road. Yu Chuan stared at the passing scenery outside the window, her heart feeling as if it was being pricked by 1,000 needles. Every breath she took tore at her heart. Yes, now he only cared about Kui Shuyao's feelings, her pain, her suffering, her despair. He no longer cared. When they reached the foot of the mountain, the carriage could go no further, so they had to walk up the mountain. Xiao Xingji accompanied Kui Shuyao all the way, carefully pushing aside branches for her and wiping her sweat from time to time. Yu Chuyuan's body was weak, so she walked slowly and gradually fell behind. Just then, Kui Shuyao's maid suddenly accidentally tripped her. Yu Chuan fell heavily to the ground, her knee hitting the stone steps, and blood immediately seeped out. Xiao Xingji turned around, frowned, and quickly walked over to help her. Why are you so careless? A yuan, I'll carry you up the mountain. But Kui Shuyao suddenly let out a cry of pain, clutching her ankle and squatting down. Brother Xingji, I twisted my ankle. Xiao Xingji froze in place. He looked at Yu Chuan, then at Kui Shuyao, and finally sighed. A yuan, we're outside now, and there are outsiders here. I have to be cold to you. Only then will Shuyao's husband believe I'm serious about her when he finds out. Yu Chuan looked at the desolate mountain road. A sudden pain surged in her heart, spreading from her chest like icy cold and burning like fire. If he wanted to carry Kui Shuyao, he could have just said so. Why make such an excuse? I can manage on my own. She struggled to stand up. I don't need you. Xiao Xingji sighed, then turned around and lifted Kui Shuyao onto his back. Kui Shuyao lay on his back and asked softly, Brother Xingji, is Sister Chuan angry? Won't you go comfort her? Xiao Xingji didn't look back. I'll comfort her later. She's always sensible, she'll understand. When they reached the top of the mountain, after Kui Shuyao prayed and repaid her vow, she wanted to hang a red silk wish ribbon, but was told, all the trees in the temple are full. There's no empty space left. Xiao Xingji casually pointed to a tree covered with red silk ribbons. Take these down and make room. The young monk looked embarrassed. We need to ask the owners of these ribbons first, Yu Chuan said faintly. No need to ask, these were all hung by me. She turned to the monk, her voice calm. Take them all down and burn them. Xiao Xingji was stunned, about to ask what was written on the ribbons, but Kui Shuyao had already pulled him away to write new ones. Yu Chuan stared at the removed ribbons, which were covered with her wishes. May I grow old with Xingji. May Xingji be safe year after year. May Xingji and I never be separated. She closed her eyes gently. Burning them was for the best. After all, she would be leaving soon. Those vows would never come true. The red silk fluttered gently in the wind. Soon, the branches were filled with the vows written by Xiao Xingji and Kui Shuyao. Brother Xingji, let's never be separated. Kui Shuyao looked up at the ribbons, smiling sweetly. Xiao Xingji replied softly, yes, never separated. As he spoke, he seemed to remember something, and turned to Yu Chuan to explain. A yuan. Don't misunderstand, this is just a show for outsiders. We have to make Shuyao's husband believe that I truly care for her, so he will give up. Yu Chuan looked at him quietly. The eyes that were full of deep affection when looking at Kui Shuyao were now telling her the most hypocritical lies. Her heart ached as if it were being torn apart, but she finally did not expose him. On the way down the mountain, more than a dozen black-cloaked assassins suddenly rushed out of the forest. Amidst the flash of swords and shadows, Xiao Xingji led his guards to fight the assassins, shielding Yu Chuan and Kui Shuyao behind him. Protect the madam and Miss Kui. In the chaos, a cold arrow shot through the air, directly at Kui Shuyao. Xiao Xingji's pupils contracted sharply. In the blink of an eye, he picked up a stone and suddenly hit Yu Chuan's leg. A sharp pain shot through Yu Chuan's leg. She stumbled forward, just in time to stand in front of Kui Shuyao. Poochie, the arrow pierced her chest, and blood instantly soaked her clothes. Excruciating pain swept over her body. Yu Chuan's vision darkened, but she still saw Xiao Xingji's panicked face. He flew toward her, but quickly passed her by and rushed straight to Kui Shuyao. Shuyao, are you hurt? His voice was full of anxiety, yet he did not even glance at her. Covered in blood, Yu Chuan was in so much pain she could barely breathe, and finally fainted completely. When she woke up again, she was back at the Marquis's mansion, with thick bandages wrapped around her chest. Every breath was piercingly painful. Xiao Xingji was guarding by her bedside, seeing her open her eyes. He quickly explained, a yuan, it was an emergency. I had no choice. Shuyao is weak. If she had been hit by that arrow, I'm afraid. He paused, softening his voice. Don't be angry. Yu Chuan was in too much pain to speak. It wasn't that he had never treated her well. He had once treated her extremely well, so well that she had mistakenly thought he loved her. But the moment Kui Shuyao appeared, everything had turned to ashes. This hurt more than if he had never loved her at all. I see, she said, her eyes red, her voice barely audible. Xiao Xingji breathed a sigh of relief, thinking he had appeased her, perhaps out of guilt. He stayed by her side every day in the following days, sending various precious tonics, but the Yu Chuan who had once been so infatuated with him, who had always wanted to be with him, now felt nothing when she looked at him. That day, the front courtyard was bustling with activity. Yu Chuan was about to go out to see what was happening when Xiao Xingji stopped her. Yuan, today is Xuyao's birthday. I've invited guests to show them how much I value her." His tone was calm. "You've already been divorced, it's not appropriate for you to appear. Rest well in the courtyard and recover from your injuries." A sharp pain stabbed Yu Chuan's heart. He had always loved peace. After years of marriage, she had accommodated him in everything, even celebrating her own birthday simply. But now, for Kui Xuyao's sake, he had broken all his principles. She smiled bitterly, said nothing, and turned back to her room, but shortly after sitting down, the door was suddenly kicked open. Xiao Xingji rushed in with a dark expression, grabbed her wrist tightly, and snarled, Yuan, why did you poison Xuyao's food?" Yu Chuan was completely stunned. She widened her eyes and looked at Xiao Xingji, her voice trembling. "Poison? What are you talking about?" Xiao Xingji's face was gloomy. He tightened his grip on her wrist, still pretending. "Xuyao's maid saw your servant sneaking into the kitchen and tampering with Xuyao's soup." "I didn't." Yu Chuan struggled to pull her hand back. "Lu Qiao has been by my side the whole time. She never left, refusing to admit your mistake even after doing it." Xiao Xingji's eyes turned cold and sharp, his grip tightening even more. "Your body isn't fully recovered, so I won't punish you. But an example must be made. Someone, drag that lowly maid out and beat her to death with a cane." "No." Yu Chuan suddenly fell off the bed, her knees hitting the ground hard, making her vision darken, but she ignored the pain, stumbled to her feet, and rushed out. "Xiao Xingji, how dare you?" Outside the courtyard, Lu Qiao was already being held down on the punishment stool. Slap. After the first cane strike, Lu Qiao spat out blood. "Lu Qiao," Yu Chuan screamed, throwing herself over to protect her. "Stop, all of you, stop." The cane did not stop, hitting her back hard. "Poochie." Yu Chuan spat out a mouthful of blood, which splattered on the bluestone floor, shocking to the eye. "Madam," Lu Qiao cried, pushing her. "Run, leave me alone." Yu Chuan held her tightly, her voice hoarse. "I won't leave, I won't let you die." Xiao Xingji stood on the veranda, seeing Yu Chuan spit up blood. His heart jolted violently, and he instinctively took a step forward. Kui Xuyao's maid suddenly knelt down with a thud, crying bitterly. "My young lady almost died from the poison this time. If we don't punish her severely now, who knows how much she will suffer living in the Marquis's mansion in the future. Please, think more about my young lady." Xiao Xingji froze in his tracks, his fists clenched tightly. He looked at the kneeling maid, then at Yu Chuan, who was on the verge of death on the punishment stool. Finally, he closed his eyes. "Continue beating, Xiao Xingji." Yu Chuan looked up at him in disbelief. "You, beat her until she admits her mistake." The canes rained down, all hitting Yu Chuan as she shielded Lu Qiao. She bit her lip tightly, blood oozing from the corner of her mouth, but she refused to let go. "Madam, please, leave," Lu Qiao cried heartbreakingly. Yu Chuan shook her head, her vision fading in and out, before falling into complete darkness. She saw Xiao Xingji rushing toward her in panic, seemingly calling her name. When she woke up again, Yu Chuan opened her eyes and saw Xiao Xingji sitting by the bed, his face still etched with unease. Seeing her wake up, his expression turned stern. "Do you know you were wrong? Even if you resent Xuyao because of the child, you shouldn't have poisoned her." Yu Chuan looked at him quietly, her voice as light as a feather. "Xiao Xingji, do you only believe her, not me? If she had shown even the slightest willingness to turn back then, you would never have married me, would you?" Xiao Xingji fell silent. That moment of silence broke Yu Chuan's heart more than any answer. Kui Xuyao's maid suddenly burst in. "The young lady is awake. She says the medicine is too bitter and refuses to take it. Please go comfort her." Xiao Xingji stood up, glanced at Yu Chuan, and said, "Rest well, this matter will not happen again." With that, He followed the maid out. Yu Chuan watched his departing figure, tears sliding down silently. Suddenly, a servant boy sneaked in. "Madam." He smiled sinisterly. "Miss Kui sent me to teach you a lesson." Before Yu Chuan could react, she was dragged out of bed, and fists smashed into her body. Her already weak body was thrown to the ground like a rag doll. Her back hit the corner of the table, making her vision darken. She curled up, protecting her head, a fishy sweetness rising in her throat. Outside the courtyard, Xiao Xingji's footsteps suddenly stopped. That cry of pain reached his ears clearly. Like a blunt knife stabbing his heart, he instinctively turned around, only to see Kui Shuyao's maid pulling his sleeve. The young lady is awake and crying from the pain." Through her blood-stained vision, Yu Chuan saw the familiar figure standing at the moon gate. "Xiao Xingji," she called out weakly, her blood-stained fingers scraping several blood marks on the bluestone floor. Another kick landed on her lower abdomen. She vomited up a mouthful of blood, but still stared firmly at that figure. "Help me!" Xiao Xingji clenched his fists, his knuckles turning white. At that moment, Yu Chuan knew he had heard her intermittent sobs, heard the dull thud of fists hitting flesh, and even heard the crisp sound of her ribs breaking. He knew these were Kui Shuyao's people, punishing her. What would he choose? Would he let Kui Shuyao take her anger out on her, or would he come to save her? The maid urged. "The young lady is getting anxious." A cold sweat slid down his forehead. Finally, he closed his eyes and stepped out of the courtyard. Bang! The final heavy blow landed on her temple. Yu Chuyuan's vision went completely black. Before sinking into darkness, she vaguely saw the young Xiao Xingji standing under a plum tree, gently brushing the falling petals off her shoulders. "A Yuan, I will never betray you in this life." When Yu Chuan woke up again from the pain, Lu Qiao was kneeling by the bed, gently wiping her wounds with a cloth dipped in ointment. "Madam," Lu Qiao's voice choked. "The heir has summoned all the doctors in the city to develop non-bitter medicine for Miss Kui. He won't even send a single doctor to treat you." Yu Chuan smiled weakly. "It's okay, there's still wound medicine in the cabinet." The moment the ointment touched her wound, pain made her fingers tremble, but she bit her lip tightly and did not make a sound. Lu Qiao's tears fell on the back of her hand, burning hot. "I'll go beg the heir." "Don't go." Yu Chuan closed her eyes, tears sliding down silently. "I can bear it." 3 days later, when Xiao Xingji pushed the door open, Yu Chuan was staring blankly at the withered plum tree outside the window. "A Yuan." His tone was light, as if nothing had happened before. "Shuyao has fully recovered. She said she doesn't care about your past mistakes and invites you to go boating on the lake tomorrow." Yu Chuan didn't move, like a sculpture. "Let's forget about the past." He reached out to stroke her hair, but she dodged. "Shuyao wants to get along with you peacefully. Don't be ungrateful." In the end, Yu Chuan was once again dragged onto the boat by Xiao Xingji without any hesitation. On the painted boat, the spring breeze brushed her face, and the lake shimmered in the light. Kui Shuyao, wearing a pale pink silk skirt, leaned weakly against Xiao Xingji's side. "Brother Xingji, this lotus crisp is sweet but not greasy. Taste it." She picked up a piece of pastry and held it to Xiao Xingji's lips. Xiao Xingji took a bite from her hand, his eyes smiling. "It's really good." As he spoke, he gently wiped the crumbs from the corner of her mouth with his finger pad. "Eat slowly, no one's snatching it from you." Yu Chuan looked away and stood up, walking toward the bow of the boat. The lake wind, carrying moisture, blew against her face, making her eyes sting. "The heir's madam is in a leisurely mood." A cold voice suddenly came from behind. Kui Shuyao's maid had appeared behind her at some point, a sarcastic smile on her face. "Have you seen how attentive the heir is to our young lady?" Yu Chuan didn't turn around, only saying faintly, "I've seen it. If our young lady hadn't been deceived into marriage by that heartless man back then and missed the heir, how could the heir have settled for you?" The maid took a step closer, her voice lowered to a whisper. "Now that our young lady is back, you still refuse to leave. Since that's the case, then you should die." Splash! A sharp pain suddenly shot through her back. Yu Chuan was pushed by the maid and fell headfirst into the lake. The icy lake water instantly submerged her head. She struggled desperately, but sank deeper and deeper. Muffled shouts echoed in her ears, and flickering light and shadow danced before her eyes. "What's going on?" Xiao Xingji's anxious voice came. "Air." The madam insisted on playing in the water. I couldn't stop her. Splash! Someone jumped into the water. Through her blurred vision, Yu Chuan saw Xiao Xingji swimming toward her. She stretched out her hand, but watched as he suddenly changed direction. "Brother Xingji, save me." Kui Shuyao accidentally fell into the water, flailing on the lake surface. Xiao Xingji froze for a moment, then immediately abandoned Yu Chuan and swam toward her without hesitation. Holding her tightly in his arms, Yu Chuan stared at their embracing figures and suddenly stopped struggling. As the lake water submerged her mouth and nose, she remembered the year he had taught her to swim, smiling and saying, "With me here, I'll never let you choke on a single drop of water." It turned out that vows could change. When she opened her eyes again, she was greeted by the familiar bed curtains. Xiao Xingji was sitting by the bed, seeing her wake up. He quickly took her hand. "A Yuan, you're finally awake." Yu Chuan pulled her hand back and looked at him silently. "There were so many people watching," he explained in a low voice. "I had to make Xiao's husband believe I'm truly sincere to her. So I had to." Yu Chuan suddenly laughed. How long was he going to keep acting? That tenderness, that thoughtfulness, they were clearly genuine. Why use putting on a show as an excuse? Seeing her remain silent, Xiao Xingji breathed a sigh of relief, thinking she had forgiven him. He personally brought the medicinal soup and fed it to her spoon by spoon. "Rest well." In a few days, before he could finish speaking, Kui Shuyao's maid suddenly burst in, crying, "Air! The young lady has suddenly developed a high fever that won't subside. The doctor says she's been cursed by witchcraft." Xiao Xingji frowned. "Nonsense." The maid raised her tear-stained face. "I dare not lie. The young lady vomited blood just now. The imperial doctor said we must find the person who cast the spell, otherwise the young lady won't survive 3 days." She crawled a few steps on her knees, clinging tightly to the hem of Xiao Xingji's robe. "The only person in this mansion who resents the young lady is..." She didn't finish, but her eyes glanced at Yu Chuan. Yu Chuan leaned against the head of the bed, her face as pale as paper. "I didn't do it, Air." The maid suddenly pulled a dagger from her sleeve and pressed it to her own neck. "I swear on my life, if nothing is found, I will kill myself to apologize." Xiao Xingji's brows furrowed deeply. He fell silent for a long time, then finally sighed. "Search." Guards filed in, rummaging through every box and cabinet. Yu Chuan watched as they opened her dressing case, tore apart the half-embroidered handkerchief, and even shook out the sachet under her pillow. "Found it." A guard pulled a cloth doll from the hidden compartment under the bed. The doll was dressed in a pink skirt, with 7 silver needles stuck in its chest, the tips glowing an eerie dark red. On the back of the doll, Kui Shuyao's birth date was written in cinnabar. Yu Chuan's pupils contracted sharply. "This isn't mine." "Heirs, madam." The maid knelt on the ground, tears mixing with blood from her forehead, streaming down. "The evidence is irrefutable. Are you still going to quibble?" Xiao Xingji held the doll, his knuckles turning white. "A Yuan. You." "I said I didn't do it." Yu Chuan's voice trembled. "I've never seen this doll before." Xiao Xingji had no intention of asking right from wrong. He immediately sent for the imperial doctor. Asking how to break the curse now that the voodoo doll had been found, the imperial doctor knelt on the ground, his voice trembling. "Your heir. To counteract this, the person who cast the spell must be made to suffer a worse illness so that Miss Kui can recover. Once Miss Kui is fully healed, we can destroy the doll to completely break the curse." Dead silence filled the room. Yu Chuan watched as Xiao Xingji's Adam's apple rolled. She heard him take a deep breath. Then issue a cold order. "Someone, take the madam to the ice cellar." "Xiao Xingji." Yu Chuan suddenly fell off the bed, her knees hitting the ground hard. "I'm innocent, a Yuan. This time you've gone too far." He turned his face away, his voice low. "You must pay the price." 2 rough old women stepped forward, lifted her up, and dragged her out. Yu Chuan struggled desperately, her nails scraping several blood marks on the doorframe. "Xiao Xingji, you'll regret this." The iron door of the ice cellar slammed shut, bone-chilling cold instantly penetrated her marrow. Yu Chuan curled up in the corner, her exhaled breath quickly condensing into frost on her eyelashes. She banged frantically on the iron door, her palms turning blue with cold. "Let me out, Xiao Xingji. Believe me just once." Just once. Outside the door, only the howling wind responded to her cries. She didn't know how long she had been there, her fingers had long since lost all feeling. And her cries for help grew weaker and weaker. "Xiao Xingji, it really wasn't me. Please, believe me." But no one responded. After an unknown amount of time, her fingers were purple with cold, and her consciousness gradually faded. Her last thought was, in this life, the next life, and all the lives after that, she would never love Xiao Xingji again. When Yu Chuan woke up again, she was greeted by the haggard faces of her parents. Her mother's eyes were red. She stroked Yu Chuan's cheek with trembling hands. "A yuan, mother," her voice was hoarse, as if scraped by sandpaper. "If I had known this would happen, I would never have let you marry him." Her mother choked. "He used to treat you so well, how could he become like this?" Her father punched the bedpost, shaking the curtains. "This is outrageous. I'm going to demand a divorce letter from him now. I'll take you away from this Marquis's mansion, father." Yu Chuan suddenly grabbed his hand. "He's already divorced me, but he said he'll marry me back in the future. Now he won't let me leave. The Marquis's mansion is too powerful, we can't resist." She struggled to sit up. "But don't worry, father and mother, I've already thought of a plan." She lowered her voice and whispered her plan to fake her death in detail. After listening, her parents exchanged a glance, then finally nodded with tears in their eyes. "A yuan." Her mother hugged her tightly before leaving, tears soaking her lapels. "Take care of yourself these days." Yu Chuan nodded and watched her parents leave with tears in her eyes. After they left, the courtyard was terrifyingly quiet. In the following days, Xiao Xingji only sent a servant boy to deliver a few boxes of tonics, but never appeared in person. Seeing her moping all day, Lu Qiao persuaded her, "Madam, today is the Lantern Festival, let's go out to relax." The long street was as bright as day, but it couldn't warm Yu Chuan's heart. "Have you heard? The heir bought the entire silver building for Miss Kui." "So what?" "The other day, Miss Kui just praised the silk from Jiangnan, and the heir immediately sent someone to transport 10 bolts by fast horse. I'll say this, the heir cares much more about this one than the previous one." Every word was like a knife, gouging Yu Chuan's heart until it bled. She suddenly remembered that during their 3 years of marriage, although Xiao Xingji had treated her well, he had never doted on her so openly. Whatever she wanted, she had to ask carefully, and he would only respond faintly, ordering someone to take care of it. It turned out that he wasn't cold by nature, he just didn't love her enough. "A yuan." The familiar voice made her body stiffen. Turning around, she saw Xiao Xingji holding Kui Shuyao in his arms under the lanterns. His brows furrowed. "What are you doing here?" Brother Xingji is accompanying me to admire the lanterns." Kui Shuyao interrupted with a coquettish smile. "Since sister is here, why not join us?" Yu Chuan was about to refuse when a terrified scream suddenly came from the corner of the street. The horses startled. "Get out of the way." An out-of-control carriage rushed toward them frantically. The driver had already been thrown off, leaving only the mad horse dragging the carriage rampaging through the crowd. The crowd instantly fell into chaos, screaming and fleeing in all directions. Before Yu Chuan could react, she saw Xiao Xingji hug Kui Shuyao tightly in his arms, tap his toes, and leap onto the roof with lightness kung fu. His movements were so fast, so unhesitating, he didn't even glance in her direction. Bang! Yu Chuan was hit hard by the carriage and flew backward, falling heavily onto the bluestone floor. The excruciating pain of broken ribs made her vision darken. Before she could get up, the panicking crowd trampled over her arms and calves. She curled up in a ball from the pain, blood spilling from the corner of her mouth. Through blurred vision, she saw Xiao Xingji carrying Kui Shuyao and landing in the distance, anxiously checking if she was hurt. "Brother Xingji, I think I twisted my ankle." Kui Shuyao leaned weakly in his arms, her voice tearful. "I'll take you back." Xiao Xingji lifted her up horizontally and turned to leave. Yu Chuan lay in a pool of blood, listening to the surrounding discussions. The heir truly dotes on Miss Kui to the extreme. No wonder he divorced his original wife. The original wife is so pitiful. Her consciousness gradually faded. The last things she remembered were the cold stone slabs and Xiao Xingji's resolute departing figure. When she woke up again, Yu Chuan was lying on her familiar bed. Lu Qiao guarded the bedside with red eyes. Seeing her wake up, she quickly brought over the medicinal soup. "Madam, you're finally awake. Has he been here?" Yu Chuan's voice was hoarse. Lu Qiao lowered her head and shook it gently. Yu Chuan closed her eyes. Once. Even if she had just caught a cold, Xiao Xingji would have stayed by her bedside and fed her medicine personally. Now that she had been hit by a carriage, he didn't even come to see her once. It seemed that in the past, she had really only been a compromise to him. The sound of servants busying themselves came from outside the window. She propped herself up and looked through the window lattice. The entire Marquis's mansion was decorated with lanterns and colored streamers. Red silk hanging high, filled with joyous atmosphere. So, he was busy preparing for the grand wedding. In the following days, Yu Chuan leaned by the window, quietly watching the red silk and lanterns filling the mansion. Servants busied themselves hanging wedding curtains and laying red carpets, each with a joyful look on their faces. "Madam," Lu Qiao stood behind her holding the medicine bowl, her voice choking. "It's okay." Yu Chuan let go of her hand, and the red silk drifted away with the wind. "I don't hurt anymore." It was true, she didn't hurt anymore. The heart-wrenching pain had long gone numb from repeated injuries. Bang! The door was suddenly pushed open. Kui Shuyao stood at the doorway wearing a bright red wedding dress, with golden threaded phoenixes shining brightly in the sunlight. "Beautiful, isn't it?" She spun around, her skirt fluttering. Brother Xingji specially invited the best embroideresses from Jiangnan. And it took them 3 months to make this. Yu Chuan looked at her quietly, saying nothing. "Yu Chuan, I gave you 3 years." Kui Shuyao approached, her fingertips brushing the pearls on the wedding dress. "Brother Xingji still only has me in his heart. You're such a failure. I'll tell you this, with how much Brother Xingji cares about me. Even if this grand wedding is just a pretense now, it will sooner or later become real." She leaned close to Yu Chuan's ear and whispered, "You'll stay in the villa forever. Don't think you'll be picked up again. That day will never come. Everything you can take away." Yu Chuan looked at her, her voice calm. "Is something I don't want." The smile froze on Kui Shuyao's face, and a flash of malice crossed her eyes. She suddenly grabbed a pair of scissors from the stone table and snapped, cutting through the wide sleeves of the wedding dress. "What are you doing?" Yu Chuan suddenly stood up. "Brother Xingji, help!" But Kui Shuyao was already in tears. She stuffed the scissors into Yu Chuan's hand and stumbled backward. "Why is sister doing this to me?" Bang! When Xiao Xingji broke through the door, he saw Yu Chuan holding the scissors and Kui Shuyao's wedding dress torn to pieces. "What's going on, Brother Xingji?" Kui Shuyao raised her tearful eyes, trembling as she pointed at Yu Chuan. "Sister suddenly lost her temper and cut up my wedding dress." Xiao Xingji's gaze fell on the fabric in Yu Chuan's hand, then swept over the cold, shining scissors on the ground. His pupils contracted sharply. "A Yuan, after everything that's happened, haven't you come to your senses yet? You still want to bully Shuyao?" "It wasn't me." Yu Chuan let go of her hand, and the blood-stained fabric fluttered to the ground. "She cut it herself. That's enough." Xiao Xingji grabbed her wrist tightly. "Shuyao wouldn't do such a thing. You've been staying in your room these days. I thought you'd come to your senses and finally learn to be magnanimous." His eyes were filled with disappointment. "So it was all an act?" Kui Shuyao sobbed and tugged at his sleeve. "Brother Xingji, what's the use of saying this now? The grand wedding is imminent, and I have no wedding dress left." She looked at Yu Chuan with red eyes. "I heard sister is extremely skilled at embroidery. Why don't you let sister embroider one for me by hand? I can't afford to lose face on my wedding day." "Impossible," Yu Chuan sneered. "I won't pay for your meanness." "You don't have a choice," Xiao Xingji shouted sharply, waving for someone to carry in crates of silk and satin. "Since you did something wrong, you must pay the price." He picked up a bunch of golden thread and threw it at Yu Chuan's feet. "Within 3 days. I want to see a perfect wedding dress." Yu Chuan looked at the expensive fabrics scattered all over the floor, her voice trembling. "Xiao Xingji, why can't you ever see the truth?" "The truth?" He coldly locked the door. All I see is you cutting up Xu Yao's wedding dress." The door slammed shut heavily. The sound of the lock clicking was like a knife, stabbing fiercely into Yu Chiyuan's heart. She looked at the silk and satin piled high on the table and suddenly laughed. She sat by the window, watching the sun move from east to west. An old woman's cold voice came from outside the door. "Madam, you'd better hurry up and embroider. The heir said no food will be delivered until it's finished." Hunger made her fingers tremble. She had no choice but to pick up the silver needle. The needle pricked her fingertips again and again, and blood stained the white silk. Every stitch felt like it was piercing her heart, making her vision darken. "Madam, you won't embroider quickly like this," the old woman reminded her from outside. "The heir will come to check tomorrow." Her vision was already blurred. She could only embroider stitch by feeling. The scabs on her fingertips formed and were pricked open again. Blood mixed with tears, leaving streaks on the wedding dress. When the last stitch was completed, the door finally opened. Xiao Xingji stood at the doorway, looking at her blood-stained hands. His brows furrowed tightly. "How did you get into this state?" Yu Chuan looked up at him, blood oozing from her chapped lips. "Are you satisfied?" Xiao Xingji's eyes were complex. He was about to speak when Kui Shuyao's voice came from outside. "Brother Xingji, is my wedding dress ready?" She walked into the room and her eyes lit up with amazement when she saw the wedding dress. Her fingertips brushed the golden-threaded phoenixes, and she smiled sweetly. "Brother Xingji, I'll definitely be the most beautiful bride tomorrow. Sister's craftsmanship is truly excellent." Xiao Xingji frowned slightly, his gaze sweeping over the streaks of blood on Yu Chiyuan's hands. His thin lips moved, but he said nothing in the end. He turned to Yu Chuan. "A Yuan, tomorrow you leave through the side door. Be obedient and don't cause trouble. Wait for me obediently at the villa. I'll come to see you often, once Xiao's husband is completely discouraged. I'll come to pick you up in a few days." He reached out to touch her face. "I won't make you wait long." Yu Chuan turned her head to avoid his touch and nodded calmly. "Okay." Her eyes were too numb, like a stagnant pool of water, without the slightest ripple. A sharp, inexplicable pain stabbed Xiao Xingji's heart. But he only thought she was throwing a tantrum and didn't think much of it. On the day of the grand wedding, the front courtyard was filled with the sound of gongs and drums, and joyous music echoed everywhere. Yu Chuan sat in the carriage, waiting to be sent to the villa. Not far away, Xiao Xingji, dressed in a bright red wedding robe, rode a tall horse, leading a grand wedding procession toward the Kui mansion. She watched quietly for a moment, then got into the carriage, lowered the curtain, and said softly, "Let's go." The carriage drove away from the Marquis's mansion, leaving the city's joy behind. The villa was desolate, guarded only by a few rough old women. Yu Chuan watched as the servants carried her luggage into the room, then respectfully retreated. Once the courtyard was completely quiet, she took out a yellowed indenture of servitude from her sleeve and handed it to Lu Qiao beside her. "Lu Qiao," her voice was soft. "Do you still remember who saved you when you were dying of illness 3 years ago?" Lu Qiao was stunned, then her eyes turned red. "It was you, madam. Now, I beg you for one thing." Yu Chuan stuffed the indenture into her hand. "Go to the mass grave and find a skeleton similar to my figure. Then bury it in the empty tomb behind the mountain." Lu Qiao's hand trembled. "Madam, what are you? When he comes to look for me, tell him." Yu Chuan smiled, her eyes empty. "I was robbed and killed by bandits. I'm already dead." "No, I can't. This indenture is yours to keep, and there's another 100 taels of silver in the box." Yu Chuan interrupted her. "Once this is done, you'll be free to go wherever you want." Lu Qiao knelt on the ground, tears pouring down. "Madam, why must you?" "I've made up my mind." Yu Chuan helped her up and wiped her tears. "Think of it as repaying the favor of saving your life back then, okay?" Lu Qiao nodded through sobs, clutching the indenture tightly in her hand. When night fell, an unremarkable carriage arrived quietly. Yu Chuan put on her cloak and got into the carriage without looking back. The moment the curtain fell, she seemed to hear the sound of joyous music drifting from afar. At this moment, Xiao Xingji should be holding Kui Shuyao's hand, drinking the nuptial wine together. She closed her eyes and pulled a faint smile at the corner of her mouth. When he came to this villa in the future, he would only see a lonely grave. There would be no tombstone. no offerings, only a mound of yellow earth and a few strands of weeds. She was curious to see what expression he would have then. Unfortunately, she would never know, because from now on, they would never meet again. The carriage rolled over the bluestone road, moving farther and farther away, finally disappearing into the vast night. The Yu family's carriage traveled farther and farther, leaving the capital completely behind. After a long journey across mountains and rivers, Yu Chuyuan and her parents settled in a water town in Jiangnan. The mountains on the horizon were dark green, faintly shrouded in a layer of mist. It had just rained, and even the air felt damp. But Yu Chuyuan felt an unprecedented lightness in her heart. She got off the carriage, helped her mother down, and couldn't help but curl her lips into a smile. "Father, Mother, we've finally left the capital and the Marquis's mansion forever." Father Yu and Mother Yu also nodded excitedly. "A Yuan, from now on, Father and Mother will be by your side. Our family will never be separated again, and we will never let you suffer the slightest grievance. What's so good about getting married? It will only torment you. Father and Mother have money. Even if a Yuan does nothing in the future, you can live a safe and happy life." Yes, Yu Chuyuan only felt warm in her heart, as if soaking in warm water. Fortunately, she had made it through. From now on, every day would be good. Yu Chuyuan, Father Yu, and Mother Yu bought a quiet courtyard and several shops to do business. Gradually, everything about the capital faded from her memory. It was as if all that had happened in a previous life. She didn't even know that Xiao Xingji in the capital was almost driven crazy. On that day, Marquis Xiao's heir, Xiao Xingji, held a grand wedding, marrying his childhood sweetheart Kui Shuyao, who had been divorced. The entire capital was covered with red silk, silver coins were scattered along several streets, and countless common people scrambled for them, sending their blessings. The world praised Xiao Xingji for his deep love, his unwavering affection for his former childhood sweetheart, and hailed it as a beautiful story. Almost no one remembered his former wife, Yu Chuyuan. Xiao Xingji wore a bright red and dazzling groom's robe. The usual cold and sharp look in his eyebrows and eyes was replaced by an indelible tenderness and joy. He and Kui Shuyao held the red silk and slowly walked into the main hall. They bowed to each other in front of everyone. First bow to heaven and earth, second bow to the ancestors, husband and wife bow to each other. Xiao Xingji bowed his head to bow to Kui Shuyao. Through the red veil, he could almost imagine how stunningly beautiful she looked today. His heart was beating extremely fast. The regret that he had never been able to fulfill was finally fulfilled today. Even if it was just a show with her to deceive her ex-husband, it was enough. However, there was an inexplicable fluster in his heart. He instinctively looked into the distance, in the direction of the villa. He hoped that Yu Chuyuan would be obedient today. Once this matter was over, he would pick her up. After all, she was his wife. An old woman dressed in festive clothes and wearing a red flower led Kui Shuyao to the backyard to wait for the wedding chamber games. Xiao Xingji went to the banquet and toasted his relatives and friends one by one. Many good friends congratulated him. "Congratulations, Brother Xingji, on regaining your former love. May you be together forever and grow old together." However, some people, after drinking too much, couldn't help but talk too much. "Xiao, now that you've married your true love, what will happen to your former wife? Have you really divorced her and abandoned her?" Although Yu Chuyuan's family background is ordinary, her face is the most beautiful in the capital. She once loved you wholeheartedly. Did you really divorce her so easily? If you really don't want her, why not let me have some fun with her? I'll marry her as a concubine and hold this beauty in my arms every day. Just thinking about it makes life beautiful. As he spoke, a blush appeared on his face, and he laughed lewdly. It was as if he had already entangled with Yu Chuyuan countless times in his mind. Xiao Xingji's face suddenly darkened, and his fingers holding the wine glass turned white with force. Crack! The wine glass shattered. Almost instantly, the entire noisy banquet hall fell silent. Everyone looked at him unanimously, observing his reaction. He couldn't lose his temper here, at least not today. Xiao Xingji narrowed his sharp eyes slightly, a cold light flashing in his eyes, but he only said, "If you can marry her, be my guest." As soon as these words were spoken, countless people winked and smiled. saying that he was really magnanimous and heartless. It seems that the heir only has his new wife in his heart. The past was just a reluctant compromise. No wonder he doesn't care so much. TSK. I really admire the heir's deep love. Yes, in the future, the new wife will probably be spoiled to the sky. Her former husband, Marquis Junnan, will probably regret it bitterly. TSK. This Miss Kui is really lucky. She was once loved by Marquis Junnan, after divorcing her husband who took a concubine. She can still make the heir divorce his wife and marry her. All the good things have fallen to her alone, everyone whispered, their words filled with unspeakable envy. After 3 rounds of drinking, Xiao Xingji didn't want to stay at the banquet anymore. He pretended to be drunk and stumbled away. Supported by a servant boy, everyone knew he wasn't drunk. He just wanted to go back to the wedding chamber early. But no one exposed him, and no one dared to. Back in the wedding chamber, he looked at Kui Shuyao waiting for him to lift her veil under the flickering red candles. Inexplicably, Xiao Xingji thought of Yu Chuan. On their wedding night, Yu Chuan knew he wasn't willing, so she took the initiative to lift her veil, drank a sip of the nuptial wine regardless of the rules, and kissed him boldly. After a night of passionate lingering, he decided to take responsibility for her and completely forget his feelings for Kui Shuyao. If Kui Shuyao hadn't come back, maybe he and Yu Chuan would have grown old together and lived a plain life. But now that she was back, he was a little hesitant. Just indulge this once, Xiao Xingji told himself. After this show was over and Kui Shuyao left, he and Yu Chuan would be the same as before, with no difference at all. He closed his eyes, calmed his mind, picked up the wedding scale beside him, and lifted Kui Shuyao's veil. She looked at him with a smile, her voice full of joy. Xingji, I finally married you. I'm so happy about today's grand wedding, even happier than the last time I got married. Xiao Xingji was stunned for a moment. His heart felt as if it was soaking in honey, and he asked blankly, really, of course it's true. Kui Shuyao picked up the nuptial wine beside her and put one of the cups in his hand. It's time to drink the cross-cup wine. It's getting late. She didn't finish the rest of her words. But Xiao Xingji probably understood what she meant. He lowered his eyes slightly, pursed his lips, and drank the cross-cup wine with Kui Shuyao. But he was always a little distracted. It wasn't until she pulled him to sit on the bed that he couldn't help but say, Shuyao, we're just putting on a show. There's no need to go this far. Marquis Junnan should already believe it. The smile on Kui Shuyao's face froze, and then a layer of mist appeared in her eyes. Xingji, the Marquis won't believe it so easily. He loves me. If he finds out we're just putting on a show, he will definitely pester me even more. Only when we really get along like ordinary husband and wife and he sees it will he give up completely. Don't worry, I know you will marry a Yuan back later. I won't disturb you too much. A Yuan has already agreed to put on the show, so I think she won't mind, seeing that he was still silent. She took the initiative to wrap her arms around his neck, trying to unbutton his clothes and kiss him. Xingji, if you don't want to, push me away. I'll leave here in a while, she said, pretending to be wronged, her eyes shimmering with tears, looking extremely pitiful. Xiao Xingji sighed deeply, but did nothing, only letting her take the initiative. After a long time, he slowly said, only this once. Don't be reckless again in the future. Kui Shuyao mumbled a few perfunctory responses. After a night of lingering, Xiao Xingji's eyebrows and eyes were full of satisfaction. Kui Shuyao leaned in his arms, hiding the calculation in her eyes. If such a thing happened once, it would happen countless times. It was not something that could be clearly defined. What's more, when this show ended was entirely up to her. As long as she didn't want it to end, Yu Chuan would have to stay in the villa forever. Watching her and Xiao Xingji be happy, Xiao Xingji held Kui Shuyao tenderly, but he couldn't help worrying about Yu Chuan in the villa. She must be feeling bad at this time, but he had to wrong her. They had just gotten married. It was not appropriate for him to go see her. She would definitely understand. Xiao Xingji told himself. For 7 consecutive days, he and Kui Shuyao got along harmoniously, doing all the things they had never had the chance to do before. Everyone in the capital praised their conjugal love, and no one remembered Yu Chuan anymore. Clearly, everything was going according to plan. But the unease in Xiao Xingji's heart became more and more obvious, as if something unpredictable was going to happen. On this day, when he left the Marquis's mansion on the pretext of suppressing bandits, Xiao Xingji changed direction halfway and went to a villa in the southern part of the city. The villa was quiet and sparsely populated. The entire courtyard was so quiet that only the sound of the wind and the rustle of sweeping could be heard. Xiao Xingji frowned instinctively, pushed open the closed door with a dark face. What met his eyes was a large area of dazzling white. The entire courtyard was hung with white cloth. The main hall was arranged like a mourning hall, and there was a memorial tablet in the center. The words "Memorial Tablet of Yu Chuan," the only daughter of the Yu family, came into view clearly. Piercing his eyes deeply, boom, Xiao Xingji felt as if he had been struck by lightning. His ears buzzed, and his vision darkened. How is it possible? How is it possible? How could a Yuan die? He muttered in disbelief, his voice trembling uncontrollably. Lu Qiao, the little maid kneeling in front of the memorial tablet, was wearing plain linen clothes, her eyes swollen from crying, red and puffy. Hearing Xiao Xingji's voice, Lu Qiao rushed towards him like crazy, beating him. "Xiao Xingji, give me back my young lady. Give me back my young lady. If you hadn't insisted on sending the young lady to this remote villa, she would never have died," she shouted at the top of her lungs, wanting to beat him with all her strength. However, Xiao Xingji was strong and healthy. Her strength was no more than a tickle to him. His brows furrowed into a deep frown. He grabbed Lu Qiao's wrist, pushed her away, and shouted sharply, "Lu Qiao, calm down. What exactly happened to a Yuan? Tell me clearly." Lu Qiao fell to the ground, tears rolling down continuously, her eyes filled with sorrow and pain. She choked for a long time, unable to utter a complete word. After a long time, she finally calmed down a little, only staring at Xiao Xingji with red eyes. Xiao, on the day you held the grand wedding with that Miss Kui, as soon as my young lady was sent to this villa, bandits broke in to rob her and killed her. Those damned bandits, it wasn't enough that they robbed all the silver and jewelry, they also wanted to abuse and kill us. The young lady knew I was fast on my feet, so she desperately fought for a chance for me to escape and find someone for help. It was so hard. I escaped. I ran desperately to the Marquis's mansion. But I was driven away like a beggar. While you were in the wedding chamber, the young lady's blood had dried up, and she was still waiting for you to come save her. How dare you come here to see her now? Get out quickly. Every word Lu Qiao spoke was filled with blood and tears. Her eyes were scarlet as she pushed Xiao Xingji away like a madwoman, but he stood firm as a mountain, not moving an inch. His legs felt rooted to the ground. Lu Qiao collapsed to the ground in despair. Tears dripping onto the floor one by one, she muttered blankly, "The young lady was already so pitiful, she'd endured so many hardships. Why did you have to treat her like this?" "Woo-woo, young lady." As Xiao Xingji listened, he almost thought he was hallucinating. How could this be? According to his plan, Yu Chuan should have been here safely, waiting for him to marry her back. How did things end up like this? A dense, stabbing pain spread across his chest, making it extremely difficult to breathe, as if his heart was being twisted with a knife. His body shook uncontrollably, teetering on the verge of collapse. Even though the truth was right in front of him, Xiao Xingji still couldn't believe it. He grabbed Lu Qiao by the collar, stared into her eyes, and shouted sharply, "It's impossible. Yu Chuan can't be dead. Lu Qiao, are you joking with me? Did you and Yu Chuan team up to deceive me? If you dare to lie, you won't want to experience the dozens of tortures in the sky prison. A Yuan must be jealous and throwing a fit, unwilling to see me marry Shuyao. She deliberately staged this to make me regret and coax her. Right, where is she now? Take me to her so I can apologize." The oppressive aura of a superior overwhelmed Lu Qiao. She trembled with fear, biting her lips so hard it drew blood. Yet she insisted on her story. The young lady is dead, she'll never come back. And she'll never wait for you to coax her again. I have no reason to lie. If you don't believe me, you can go see her grave yourself. If I could, I'd wish more than anyone for the young lady to be alive instead of lying cold and alone underground. Her words were like a sharp blade, stabbing straight into Xiao Xingji's heart and twisting repeatedly. His entire heart was torn to pieces, the pain almost making him lose consciousness. His face turned as pale as paper. And his eyes were filled with confusion for a moment. Only at this moment did he clearly realize, Yu Chuan was truly dead. Xiao Xingji's eyes were dark and hollow, like a walking corpse as he followed Lu Qiao to pay his respects to Yu Chuan. On the brand new stone tombstone were inscribed the words, Tomb of Yu Chuan, only daughter of the Yu family. The soil on the mound was still fresh. Looking hasty and desolate, Xiao Xingji stared at the tombstone. His eyes almost splitting with rage. He had never imagined that one day Yu Chuan would leave him forever in such a way. He had always thought she would be waiting not far away, until he let go of Kui Shuyao and came back to her. But fate had played a cruel joke on him. Clearly, when he had sent Yu Chuan away, she had been fine. In less than a day, she was gone from this world forever. Grief and sorrow surged over him, completely engulfing him. Xiao Xingji's vision blurred, and his heart sank to the bottom of an abyss. He only stared at Lu Qiao as she burned paper money, not moving for a long time. No matter what, he refused to accept that Yu Chuan was dead. After a long silence, his eyes red with tears, he frantically began digging at the soil of the mound with his hands. Xiao Xingji, are you crazy? The young lady is already dead. Do you want to disturb her even in the afterlife? Lu Qiao panicked, pushing and pulling him, but it was useless. Get out of my way. He suddenly threw her aside, his face dark as he dug faster and faster. Soon, he had uncovered much of the soil, leaving only a thin layer on the black coffin lid ready to open it. Lu Qiao's tears had dried up. She threw herself forward with her last bit of strength to stop him. You can't open the coffin. If you do, the young lady will die with regret. She's no longer your wife, she's just the Yu family's daughter. If you open the coffin, her parents will rise from the dead to haunt you. At these words, Xiao Xingji froze. He glanced coldly at her and asked in a deep voice, what about father-in-law and mother-in-law? Are they dead too? Before Lu Qiao could answer, he immediately insisted, you're all in on this act. The only reason you're stopping me from opening the coffin is because there's no one inside. I'm opening this coffin today, no matter what. As soon as he finished speaking, Xiao Xingji pried out a soul-suppressing nail, which clanged to the ground. One by one, the nails fell. He suddenly lifted the coffin lid. However, the moment he saw the body inside, Xiao Xingji fell completely silent, his blood freezing in his veins. The body was covered in knife wounds, rotting and stinking. Its face was black and blue with countless bruises, making it almost unrecognizable. The horrifying sight mocked the absurdity of Xiao Xingji's stubborn denial. Lu Qiao collapsed to the ground, tears streaming down as she laughed wildly. Now do you see clearly? The young lady is dead. She'll never appear before you and Miss Kui. Oh, no, the Marquis's wife again. Even her parents disappeared while seeking revenge on the bandits. The mountains are full of wild beasts, poisonous insects, and ants. Master and Mistress Yu were powerless. They knew they couldn't survive, so they deliberately walked to their deaths. Are you satisfied with how things have turned out? Every word pierced Xiao Xingji's heart. Seeing that he still hadn't spoken, Lu Qiao struggled to her feet, picked up the soul-suppressing nails, and tried to close the coffin. If I didn't have to finish the young lady's and her parents' funeral arrangements, I would have gone with them too. She forced a smile, her heart as cold as ash. After a long silence, Xiao Xingji finally managed to find his voice. I'm taking a yuan to the Xiao family ancestral grave. She was my wife for a day, and she'll be my wife forever. His voice was hoarse but firm. He reached out to lift the Yu Chuan's body. Lu Qiao couldn't hold back any longer. She slapped him across the face, ignoring all sense of hierarchy, and said harshly, Xiao Xingji, if you want the young lady to be in despair even in death and hate you for eternity, then take her away. You already have a wife now. Do you think Miss Kui will agree to let the young lady be buried in the Xiao ancestral grave? She'd probably grind her bones to dust. Xiao Xingji frowned. Shuyao isn't petty. She's kind and wouldn't hurt anyone. Don't slander her. Slander. Lu Qiao found his words ridiculous and sneered. If Miss Kui was truly kind and magnanimous, why would she hurt the young lady so many times? The young lady never did anything to her, yet she was injured countless times because of her. How could a Yuan not have bullied Shu Yao? His face darkened, about to bring up the past incidents again, but Lu Qiao ignored him, throwing herself onto the coffin lid. Believe what you want, the young lady is dead, it doesn't matter anymore. If you insist on taking her away, you'll have to step over my dead body. And the young lady will hate you for all eternity. Hearing this, Xiao Xingji hesitated for a long time before giving up. Fine, she won't be moved to the ancestral grave, but I'll send someone to repair her tomb later. No one who hurt a Yuan will get away with it. He left, his body exuding a murderous aura. He couldn't bear to hurt Lu Qiao. Yu Chuan had cherished this maid. If he did anything to her, a Yuan would hate him forever if she knew. The dead were gone. He didn't want to do anything else that might make her regret. Still, he refused to believe that Shu Yao would hurt Yu Chuan. Xiao Xingji's face was dark as he rejoined the bandit suppression team. Holding a spear, he was eager to kill every last bandit. Every move was filled with killing intent. Aiming straight for the bandits' vital points, many bandits were stabbed through by the spear before they could react, dying with regret, seeing the tide turn. Countless bandits fled in panic. Those who couldn't escape knelt on the ground begging for mercy. Officers, spare us. We surrender voluntarily. We don't want to die. No. Xiao Xingji's eyes turned cold. As soon as he spoke, his sharp spear slit their throats. One strike. One kill, no more chances to beg. The soldiers looked at each other in surprise. They had never seen him so crazy and ruthless, acting so decisively. It was as if he was avenging a blood feud. The bandits' bodies piled up like a mountain, their blood gurgling out to form a small stream. The sight was terrifying. But these soldiers were all veterans of countless battles. They were not afraid. Still, one couldn't help but ask cautiously, what's wrong with you today? Why are you so angry? I thought we were supposed to capture some bandits for interrogation. Why did we kill them all? Xiao Xingji glanced at him coldly and said only 2 words, nothing. He didn't want to say more, and the others didn't dare to ask. They silently watched as he set fire to the pile of bodies. The bandit stronghold fell silent, with only the crackle of the flames. The fire blazed higher and higher, lighting up the sky with a dazzling red glow. After a long time, the bodies were burned to ashes, leaving only a pile of blackened bones. Only then did Xiao Xingji's heavy heart feel a little lighter. A Yuan. Everyone who hurt you and your parents has paid the price. I'm sorry. He forced a bitter smile and whispered. However, his heart still felt empty, as if a large piece was missing, and he was still not at ease. Xiao Xingji didn't even know when he returned to the Marquis's mansion, seeing the blood on his face and body. Kui Shuyaro screamed in fright and huddled into a ball. Don't come over. She stared at him repeatedly before confirming that it was Xiao Xingji. But he frowned instinctively. Was she so afraid of him? Back then, when he had returned from the Emperor's assignment, covered in wounds and blood, being carried back, Yu Chuan had not been this scared. Instead, she had been overwhelmed with distress, shedding tears constantly and rushing to treat his wounds. But Kui Shuyaro, Xiao Xingji suppressed the slight discomfort in his heart, telling himself that she was just timid. He only called a servant to help him take off his armor and wipe the blood from his face and body, saying faintly, "Don't be afraid, this isn't my blood, it's all someone else's." Kui Shuyaro gradually calmed down, her eyes red as she forced a smile. "I'm so relieved that you're okay, Xingji. It's all my fault for being too timid. I'll go make you a nourishing soup to apologize." "No need." Xiao Xingji frowned and refused. "There's no need for the trouble, rest well. I still have other official business to attend to." With that, he went straight to the study. For the next few days, he slept in the study and never returned to their room. Kui Shuyao's face turned extremely ugly, and she secretly cursed Yu Chuan countless times in her heart. She tried to go in and urge him to come back to the room, but he only brushed her off with the excuse of being busy with official business. She was helpless. After returning to her courtyard, she swept all the things off the table in a fit of rage. Crash, teacups shattered all over the floor, but she still didn't feel relieved. At that moment, her maid Jinshu walked over with a letter, handing it to Kui Shuyaro and cooing softly, "Madam, don't be angry, the Marquis has finally come for you. I heard he's brought many people to take you back." You can take this chance to make the Marquis dote on you more. Hearing this, Kui Shuyao gradually calmed down. And a smile reappeared on her face. However, when she looked at the letter, she couldn't help but feel angry. So he finally remembers to come for me. But it's too late. Now I don't want to leave the Marquis. If he's still willing to treat me as well as before, I might consider continuing to see him, she said hypocritically. In fact, divorcing the Marquis had never been her real goal. Marquis Junnan had promised her a lifetime of being his only wife. She had thought she would be happy forever, but she had never imagined that the Marquis would secretly keep a concubine outside, and he had kept her for 3 full years, even had a child with her. She had only been married to him for less than 3 years. When Kui Shuyao found out everything, she almost went crazy. To make matters worse, the concubine had openly brought their son to the palace to claim kinship. How could she possibly accept that? So, she pretended to be heartbroken by the betrayal, resolutely demanding a divorce and leaving. The Marquis loved her and refused to let her go, pestering her endlessly. She didn't want to forgive him so quickly, nor could she accept the concubine and the child. Taking advantage of the fact that everyone pitied her after the divorce and no one would suspect her of harming the concubine, she had someone poison the concubine and the child to death. To prove that she was truly over the Marquis, she pretended to be devastated, left the palace, and sought refuge with her childhood sweetheart, heir Xiao Xingji. She had no intention of completely letting go of the Marquis, but she also didn't want Xiao Xingji to belong to anyone else. The current situation was perfect. She could enjoy Xiao Xingji's doting while secretly seeing the Marquis. Yet she had forgotten that the thing she hated most was people who were unfaithful and cheated behind their partners' backs. Kui Shuyao had always been like this, strict with others, lenient with herself. Just thinking about her future life made her couldn't help but curl her lips into a smile. No matter why Xiao Xingji had been cold to her these past few days, he would have to dote on her as before from now on. The next day, Kui Shuyao deliberately dressed herself plainly and looked haggard, knocking on the study door with red eyes. "What is it? Didn't I say not to come to me unless it's something important?" Xiao Xingji frowned, his voice cold. The sudden knock made his hand tremble, and a drop of ink accidentally smudged the portrait of Yu Chuan on the desk, ruining it completely. Kui Shuyao pushed the door open, looking wronged and sobbing. "Xingji, I heard that Marquis Junnan will come to take me away in a few days. I'm so scared. You'll continue to be good to me and protect me, won't you?" "Yes." Xiao Xingji nodded affirmatively. He then pinched the bridge of his nose, forcing down the indescribable irritability in his heart, and said slowly, "I'll take you out to play later, so that Marquis Junnan can see how much I care about you and make him back down." Hearing this, Kui Shuyao was instantly overjoyed, and the haggard look on her face faded a little. "Great, I'll go change my clothes now." Soon after, Xiao Xingji took Kui Shuyao to the peach blossom forest to admire the flowers. The entire stretch of pale pink peach blossoms looked extremely beautiful and dreamlike, as if they had entered a fairyland. Kui Shuyao was both surprised and delighted, unable to stop smiling. She happily wandered around the peach blossom forest several times before gradually returning to Xiao Xingji's side. "Xingji, thank you for bringing me here today. I love it." "Well, I'm glad you like it." He forced a smile, but his heart was still immersed in the sorrow of Yu Chuyuan's death. Her figure kept appearing faintly before his eyes, as if she was still by his side, even when he had taken Kui Shuyao out to play. He had instinctively chosen this peach blossom forest, the one Yu Chuan had loved the most. He and Yu Chuan had come here countless times before. No matter which direction he looked, he seemed to catch a vague glimpse of her. It turned out that his feelings for Yu Chuan were not as non-existent as he had thought. After 3 years of marriage, she had already gradually integrated into his life, becoming a habit etched deep in his soul. Only at this moment did he realize he couldn't live without Yu Chuan, but she was already dead, and would never appear before him again. Xiao Xingji's heart was filled with bitterness, but he said nothing to Kui Shuyao. He just quietly stared through her figure, missing the Yu Chuan of the past. They stayed in the peach blossom forest for a long time before Xiao Xingji took Kui Shuyao back to the city and went to a restaurant. ordering a whole table of her favorite dishes. You must be starving after playing for so long. Eat up, these are all your favorites. Kui Shuyao nodded with a smile, feeling like the happiest person in the world. However, suddenly there was a commotion outside the restaurant, with countless people chattering and watching. Kui Shuyao frowned, thinking it had nothing to do with her, until the private room door was kicked open. Her heart skipped a beat. Marquis, we're already divorced, and I've remarried. You've made such a big fuss today. Are you trying to take me away by force? She glared fiercely at Marquis Junnan, then shrank back into Xiao Xingji's arms in fear. Xingji, I'm so scared. Xiao Xingji put his arm around her shoulders, holding her tightly in his arms. He stared coldly at Marquis Junnan and threatened sharply. Marquis, my wife and I are deeply in love. If you dare to do anything, don't blame me for executing all of you. Marquis Junnan glanced at Xiao Xingji impatiently, pointing his sword directly at Kui Shuyao. Xiao, I'm not here to steal this poisonous woman from you. I'm here to arrest her and bring her to justice. She poisoned my concubine and my son, then dared to run away. She deserves to die. His eyes were sharp, and he gritted his teeth. He looked so furious, as if he wanted to tear Kui Shuyao to pieces. It's impossible. Xiao Xingji's first reaction was to refute. Shuyao has always been kind and innocent. She would never do such a thing as harming others. Kui Shuyao's face turned as pale as paper, her blood running cold. She pretended to be tough and echoed, "That's right, I can't even bear to step on an ant, so how could I kill someone? Marquis, are you trying to trick me into going back with you using this kind of trick? I'm telling you, it's impossible. As long as you're unfaithful, I'll never go back to you." Hearing her say this, Xiao Xingji was even more convinced of her innocence and continued to speak up for her. Marquis, no matter what tricks you use, no matter how you slander Shuyao, I will believe her. She's already married to me. She's only my wife. You'll never take her away, no matter what. Hair. Marquis Junnan was almost amused by his anger. To make Xiao Xingji give up on Kui Shuyao, he simply clapped his hands and ordered someone to bring the evidence. Then he threw a book recording witness testimonies and material evidence in front of Xiao Xingji. Xiao, all the evidence of Kui Shuyao's crimes is here, including some evidence of her harming your late wife Yu Chuan. Believe it or not, you can send someone to investigate. No matter what you say today, I must take this poisonous woman away to be punished. He glanced coldly at his attendants, who immediately surrounded Kui Shuyao and Xiao Xingji, drawing their swords. Xiao Xingji flipped through the book frantically. The more he read, the more shocked he became. His face turned darker and darker, and a dangerous aura gathered around him, as if a storm was brewing. Kui Shuyao completely panicked. She threw herself at him, trying to snatch the book. Xingji, don't read it. It's all fake. I would never harm anyone. The Marquis made this up to deceive you. He just wants you to abandon me voluntarily so he can take me back. Didn't you say you would only believe me, no matter what? Didn't you say you would always stand by my side and protect me? Don't believe him, okay? I don't want to go back with him. I don't want to be forced to face his concubine's provocation every day. I don't want to spend my days in tears and die of grief. She screamed and begged, stretching out her hand desperately to grab the book from his hand, trying to snatch it and burn it. Xiao Xingji's face was dark blue, and his eyes looking at her were as cold as ice. Kui Shuyao, you really are something else. If it weren't for the Marquis, I might have been kept in the dark by you for the rest of my life. With a sharp slap, he slammed the booklet onto Kui Shuyao's face, rage boiling over in his chest. No, it's not like this. It's not. Xingji, you've got it all wrong. I really didn't do it. She shook her head frantically, trying to explain. But the moment she picked up the booklet, Marquis Junnan stepped on her hand and ground it hard under his foot. Kui Shuyao, what's the use of begging him? Why don't you beg me instead? After all, it's me who's going to torture you and take you back to be punished. Seeing Xiao Xingji say nothing, Kui Shuyao's heart turned ice cold in an instant. He was probably beyond hope now. Maybe she should beg the Marquis for mercy instead. He had loved her so deeply once, perhaps a twinge of pity would make him spare her. Kui Shuyao ran through every possibility in her mind. In the end, she resigned herself to following her instincts. clutching the Marquis's robe and sobbing pitifully. "Marquis, spare me, I beg you, I really didn't do anything. The death of your concubine and her son has nothing to do with me. For the sake of our past love, just let me off this once." "Heh," Marquis Junnan sneered, his face oozing with contempt. "Kui Shuyao, what do you think you are, daring to speak of the past? I did love you once, but it was precisely that love that led to Xiao He and the child's brutal deaths. If my father and mother hadn't uncovered the truth, I would have truly been fooled by you, foolishly coming here to win you back. You claim to be innocent. Then what about all those maids in the palace who died for no reason? Didn't you have them killed out of jealousy, just because they got close to me? If Xiao Xingji's former wife hadn't chosen to be divorced, she would have long been killed by your so-called accidents. Every single one of these crimes, isn't each and every one of them you're doing? How could I ever let you off?" He clamped his hand tightly around Kui Shuyao's jaw, squeezing so hard he seemed ready to snap it right off. "No, Xingji, save me." Finding her pleas to the Marquis useless, she turned to Xiao Xingji for help instead. But it was too late. Xiao Xingji had finally woken up to the truth. He was no fool. Connecting the dots between all the injuries Yu Chuan had suffered and the words Lu Qiao had spoken, the truth was now crystal clear. He stared at Kui Shuyao, his heart filled with bitter disappointment. He hated himself for ever being so thoroughly deceived by such a woman. Bang! Xiao Xingji kicked Kui Shuyao hard in the stomach, his eyes blazing with nothing but hatred and cruelty. "Kui Shuyao, I truly regret ever bringing you home. I regret giving you the chance to hurt a Yuan. You killed her. How could you possibly think I would still save you?" Before his words faded, she went flying like a broken kite, crashing heavily into the corner of the wall. Cough, cough. Kui Shuyao coughed violently, as if she would cough up her entire insides. Blood stained the corners of her lips, making her already pale face look even ghastlier. Yet the two men in the room felt not an ounce of pity for her, only the same burning hatred in their eyes. Before Xiao Xingji could strike her again, she forced her voice out, scrambling to explain. "Xingji, Yu Chuan is dead. I really didn't know. I swear it wasn't me. But when a lie is told too many times, no one will believe it anymore." Xiao Xingji had already made up his mind that she was guilty, and nothing would change that unless Yu Chuan appeared before him at that very moment. And clearly, that was impossible. His dark eyes were cold as ice, fixed on Kui Shuyao without a shred of warmth. "Stop your quibbling. For every hurt you inflicted on a Yuan, you will pay back 100-fold. As soon as the words left his mouth, all hope drained out of Kui Shuyao, her heart turning to ashes. Just then, Marquis Junnan chimed in. "Kui Shuyao, you killed Xiao He and the child. You will also pay with your life for their deaths." "Here he." She broke into a wild, deranged laugh, tears streaming down her face unchecked as she rambled on, still trying to defend herself. "What right do you two have to accuse me, to torture me? Xiao He and her brat deserved to die. It's all your fault, Marquis. If you hadn't broken your promise to me, I would never have had to resort to killing them. You're the one who murdered them. Do you know how they knelt and begged me for mercy when they were dying, begged me to spare their lives? But not long before that, they had the gall to provoke me. How could I possibly have tolerated that?" As she spoke, the maniacal grin on her face grew wider, the viciousness in her eyes sending chills down one's spine. Then she turned her mocking gaze to Xiao Xingji. "And you and Yu Chuan are even more ridiculous. You promised me you would marry me. You voluntarily divorced Yu Chuan. Every injury she ever suffered, you were the one who caused them. I merely plotted against her. But you were the one who actually drove her to her death. You're the one who killed her. You have no right to judge me either." "That's not true," Xiao Xingji and Marquis Junnan said almost in unison. Yet deep down, both of them knew they were not entirely innocent either. But Marquis Junnan refused to admit it, without hesitation. He ordered his men to drag Kui Shuyao away, throw her into the imperial prison, torture her to the fullest, then give her a cup of poisoned wine to end her life. But Xiao Xingji silently followed the guards as they escorted Kui Shuyao away. Marquis Junnan frowned, calling out to him, Xiao, what are you doing? Are you going to take her away? She's nothing but a venomous snake. Surely you don't still harbor feelings for her and intend to save her." "No," Xiao Xingji replied coldly. I just want to be the one to torture her myself. I promised a yuan that everyone who hurt her would pay for their crimes. Now it's Qi Shuyao's turn. Hearing this, the Marquis finally let him go, but not before sending men to keep a close eye on him, just in case he tried to trick them and spirit Qi Shuyao away. All the way through the streets, Qi Shuyao was paraded in chains, while Xiao Xingji followed behind, completely unmoved. Crowds of onlookers gathered, whispering among themselves, "Isn't that the Marquis Xiao's wife? She and the Marquis were so deeply in love, how did she end up like this? And the Marquis is just watching coldly. Is the sun rising from the west today? What crime could she have committed to deserve such a fate? Could it be adultery? I heard Marquis Junnan entered the capital today. Maybe she was having an affair with her ex-husband. No, I heard it's murder, and not just one person. That woman is pure evil. She killed the Marquis's concubine and child, and even the Marquis Xiao's first wife." The crowd erupted in an uproar at this rumor. As Qi Shuyao passed by, people shrank back in fear, afraid they might become her next victims. Some even threw stones and rotten vegetable leaves at her. "Murderer, deserve to die, murderer. Deserve to die." Countless stones pelted her head and body, blood gushed from a gash on her forehead, and her skin bloomed with bruises all over. Her eyes turned fierce with rage, and she was about to lunge at the crowd when the guards immediately restrained her. With a brutal twist, they dislocated her arm. "Still want to misbehave?" Agony shot through her body, and Qi Shuyao shook her head frantically. "No, I won't dare again, I promise." Yet a profound sense of hopelessness washed over her. She was going to die sooner or later. What was the point of all this suffering? It would be better to just end her life quickly. As soon as she was thrown into the imperial prison, a look of resolve flashed across Qi Shuyao's face. She lunged at the wall, intent on bashing her head against it, but Xiao Xingji grabbed her wrist, yanking her back and flinging her roughly to the ground. "Qi Shuyao, I haven't finished torturing you yet. You think you can die? Dream on." He spat out the words cruelly. Then he picked up a red-hot branding iron and strode toward the woman crumpled on the floor like a dead dog, pressing it fiercely against her skin. Qi Shuyao screamed in agony, cold sweat soaking her clothes as her shriek pierced the air. When he finally pulled the iron away, she gasped for breath, her body trembling violently. She scrambled to her knees, kowtowing frantically, terror etched all over her face. "Xingji, I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have framed Yu Chuan. I shouldn't have bullied her and hurt her. Please spare me. At the very least, give me a quick death." Thud, thud, thud. The sound of her forehead hitting the stone floor echoed relentlessly. Blood pooled on the ground beneath her, and her forehead was soon a mangled mess of flesh and blood. Xiao Xingji watched coldly. Not a single flicker of pity left in his eyes. All the tenderness he had once felt for her had been a mistake he regretted more than anything. "Give up, Qi Shuyao. I will never let you off. When you hurt a yuan, did you ever stop to think that she was in pain too? If it weren't for you, I would be living happily with a yuan right now. If it weren't for you, our child would never have been miscarried." His eyes reddened with unshed tears, grieving for his past self, so blind and foolish, and for the Yu Chuan who had suffered so much. Hearing this, Qi Shuyao's last shred of hope vanished. She collapsed onto the ground, utterly helpless. Her heart as cold and empty as a void. She knew Xiao Xingji would never forgive her. She knew that now. His heart belonged only to the dead Yu Chuan. After all, the living could never compete with the dead. She would never be able to compare to Yu Chuan in his heart, not ever again. Qi Shuyao felt a surge of regret, but it was only regret that she hadn't killed Yu Chuan sooner. Xiao Xingji stared at her silently, reading the answer in her eyes without needing to ask. He closed his eyes briefly, suppressing all the swirling emotions inside him. When he opened them again, his gaze was calm and cold, devoid of any feeling. Like a well-oiled puppet, he methodically, numbly inflicted one torture after another on Qi Shuyao. As her blood-curdling screams grew fainter and fainter, the crushing pain in his chest finally eased a little. "A yuan, if you could see this, would you finally be satisfied? I've avenged you." Xiao Xingji walked out of the imperial prison. Gazing up at the dazzling sunlight, the words echoing silently in his heart, But no one was there to answer him. Inside the prison, after verifying the severity of Kui Shuyao's injuries, the Marquis Junnan's guards brought her a cup of poisoned wine and forced it down her throat. Go on your way quickly. Atone for the people you killed as soon as possible. Kui Shuyao lay on the ground, her eyes empty, struggling even to move a finger. She couldn't help but think, atone. She'd never atoned for anything. In this life, she'd done everything she'd wanted to do. Her only regret was failing to make Marquis Junnan her concubine. Other than that, she had no regrets left. Dying now wasn't so bad, she supposed. It would spare her from further torture. Blood gushed from her mouth, blurring her vision with a dazzling red haze. Her consciousness faded away, and she took her last breath. Once envied by countless people in the capital, she was now carried away. Covered only by a straw mat, watching this scene, a faint, stabbing pain twisted in Xiao Xingji's chest. Grief, belated and overwhelming, spread through his entire body. He walked like a zombie, even forgetting to take shelter when a sudden downpour began. The heavy rain soaked him to the bone, his layered silk robes clinging tightly to his body. A gust of wind blew, sending chills down his spine, but Xiao Xingji seemed not to feel it. He walked forward, his face expressionless. Had he completely stopped loving Kui Shuyao? Impossible. She was the childhood sweetheart he'd pined for, the one he'd desired but couldn't have for so many years. Now that she'd finally returned to him, he still loved her deeply, but he couldn't stand idly by after watching her hurt Yu Chuan so many times. From start to finish, Yu Chuan had done nothing wrong. Perhaps the only mistake she'd ever made was choosing to marry him. Now, it was too late to regret. There was no way to turn back. Shrouded in loneliness, Xiao Xingji unconsciously wandered to the villa. In just one short month, the entire villa had fallen into desolation, overgrown with weeds. Lu Qiao, the maid who'd once lived here, was nowhere to be found. Perhaps she couldn't bear to stay in this place of sorrow any longer. It didn't matter. Xiao Xingji passed the villa without a care and made his way to Yu Chiyuan's grave. 2 empty tombs now stood beside hers for her parents. He'd had them carefully renovated, no longer as desolate as before. The mounds, built of blue stone, were neat and tidy. Even the characters on the tombstones had been gilded with gold leaf. He'd also added his own name to Yu Chiyuan's tombstone. Xiao Xingji lifted his robes, knelt on both knees, and burned paper money for Yu Chiyuan. A yuan. I've avenged everyone who ever hurt you. Now, I'm the only one left who wronged you. If you can sense this from the underworld, come back to the mortal world to take your revenge on me, I beg you. Just let me see you one more time. I'm sorry. I truly know I was wrong. I shouldn't have brought Kui Shuyao home. I shouldn't have let her hurt you. I shouldn't have made you suffer so much. I'm sorry. His head hung low, his voice hoarse, his entire body radiating vulnerability. He apologized countless times, but no amount of solace could bring back the dead. After kneeling at Yu Chiyuan's tomb for a long time, he slowly stood up and turned to respectfully bow 3 times at the empty tombs of Yu's father and mother. Father-in-law, mother-in-law, I failed you. I didn't protect a yuan. It's all my fault. May you be reunited with a yuan in the underworld and take good care of her. If there is an afterlife, I will never let a yuan down. Thud, thud, thud. He kowtowed 3 more times, so hard that his forehead began to bleed. When he looked up again, Xiao Xingji's eyes were empty and despairing. Now he was truly alone in the world. He'd avenged everyone he'd set out to. What was the point of living anymore? Swallowing his grief, Xiao Xingji pulled out a dagger, closed his eyes, and drove it toward his chest. The tip of the blade had barely pierced his skin when a stone came flying, hitting his hand square on. It was the Emperor's chief bodyguard. The bodyguard bowed respectfully to him, then spoke in a solemn, measured tone. The Emperor still needs you to serve him. If you take your own life now, the Xiao family will suffer. You are the backbone of the Xiao clan. If you fall, the Xiao family will fall with you. And the honor your ancestors have guarded for generations will be destroyed forever. Please think carefully. The Xiao family. The Xiao family didn't need him. If he died, someone from a collateral branch would take his place as heir. But the Emperor had spoken. The Emperor still needed him as a sharp blade. He had no choice but to live. I understand, Xiao Xingji said. nodding helplessly, fully aware of his predicament. He couldn't even choose to die freely. A bitter smile tugged at his lips. He pulled out the dagger, pressed a hand to his bleeding wound, and boarded the carriage that would take him back to the mansion. The Emperor's men kept a constant watch on him. He couldn't attempt suicide again, not even back at the mansion. Despair consumed Xiao Xingji. He felt numb, like a puppet, letting others tend to his wounds without resistance. Did it hurt? He didn't seem to feel anything anymore. 3 years later, Xiao Xingji, the Emperor's most reliable weapon, had sustained too many injuries and was forced to resign to recover his health. Rumors spread of a miracle doctor in Jiangnan. Using the excuse of seeking medical treatment, Xiao Xingji traveled to Yangzhou, far away from the conflicts of the capital, leaving all his pain behind. Jiangnan was beautiful, especially after a rain. As the owner of Jinxiu Workshop, Yu Chuan walked through the streets in a dress made from the workshop's latest fabric. Showcasing it to the people and delivering custom-made garments, the shimmering silk seemed to flow in the sunlight, enhancing her already striking beauty. Countless passers-by couldn't help but stop and stare. Several young girls who knew Yu Chuan well stopped her, asking eagerly, "Sister A Yuan, the fabric on your dress is stunning. Is it the latest design from Jinxiu Workshop? Did you make many pieces? You promised to reserve some for us. Did you keep your word?" Yu Chuan smiled, her voice warm as she answered each question. "Yes, it's our latest design. This fabric is difficult to weave, so it's quite expensive and limited in quantity. Many noble ladies and wealthy young misses are eager to order it. But don't worry, I kept the reservations for you. You can pick them up at Jinxiu Workshop anytime. Just mention my name." "Wonderful, Sister A Yuan. Money isn't an issue. We'll head to the workshop right away. Go take care of your errands." The girls beamed and waved goodbye to Yu Chuan. Yu Chuan lingered for a moment, then turned to deliver the remaining custom garments to several clients. Her errand today had been a success. She was certain this new fabric would soon become popular throughout Jiangnan. 3 years ago, she and her parents had settled in Yangzhou to start a business. After her parents had earned a fortune, they'd opened Jinxiu Workshop for her, knowing how much she loved textiles. Now, the workshop was thriving, and their lives were getting better and better. Everything was moving in a positive direction. Running Jinxiu Workshop had taught her an important lesson. She didn't need Xiao Xingji to survive. In fact, she was much happier without him. After 3 years, she could barely even remember Xiao Xingji's face. Not that it mattered anymore. Yu Chuan carried the last few garments and went to a medical clinic. "Dr. Chu, your sisters and your custom dresses are ready. Could you check if there are any issues?" A man dressed in green stepped out of the clinic, his demeanor elegant and refined. A faint, joyful light sparkled in his clear, handsome eyes. "Thank you, miss you. Please come inside and wait. My sister will be out soon to try on her dress," Chu Zhon said, pouring her a cup of flower tea and placing it in front of her. "It's no trouble. I have plenty of time. Please, don't let me disturb you." Yu Chuan replied. She took a sip of the fragrant tea and quietly watched Chu Zhon as he treated patients and prepared herbal medicines. Even mundane tasks looked graceful and effortless when performed by someone as handsome and poised as him. She watched him absently, not noticing the faint blush that crept up his ears or the momentary hesitation in his movements under her gaze. Just as Chu Zhon was about to speak, his sister Chu Xian emerged from the backyard. When she saw Yu Chuan, her eyes lit up. She threw her arms around Yu Chuan's arm, chattering excitedly. "Sister A Yuan, I missed you so much. You finally came to see my brother and me again. The dresses you brought look beautiful. You must have put a lot of thought into them. I'm glad you like them. Shall we try them on now?" Yu Chuan replied, unable to hide her smile. Chu Xian glanced at Chu Zhon, who was pretending to be busy, and a mischievous smirk crossed her face. She nudged him playfully. "My dress will definitely fit without trying it on. Sister A Yuan must remember my measurements perfectly. But I'm not sure about my brother's. Brother, you should try yours on." She pushed Chu Zhon gently. Winking at him repeatedly, Chu Zhon smiled helplessly, took the dress, and went to the backyard to change. When he returned, he was wearing a loose white cross-collar robe. In the sunlight, the crane patterns embroidered on the fabric shimmered with gold, making him look as ethereal as an immortal. Yu Chuan stared, stunned for a moment, and blurted out a compliment before she could stop herself. Dr. Chu looks like an immortal, she blushed, feeling embarrassed. But then noticed a wrinkle in his robe that hadn't been smoothed out. She quickly changed the subject. Dr. Chu, there's a wrinkle here that needs adjusting. Really, where? Chu Zhon feigned ignorance, turning to her with a helpless expression. A yuan. Could you help me fix it? Not realizing he was pretending, Yu Chuan stepped closer to adjust the fabric. She'd helped many people adjust their clothes at the workshop, but they'd almost all been women. It wasn't until the faint, bitter scent of medicinal herbs from Chu Zhon's robes filled her nostrils that she belatedly realized how intimate the gesture was. Too intimate. After smoothing out the wrinkle, Yu Chuan took a step back only to hear an unexpected, furious voice behind her. Yu Chuan, what are you doing? The voice, filled with rage, almost split the air. Xiao Xingji had never imagined he would reunite with her like this. His eyes were bloodshot. His pupils dilated with anger, and his fists at his sides trembled with fury. Since arriving in Yangzhou, he'd heard of Jinqiu workshop, but he'd never paid it any mind. It wasn't until he saw a woman on the street wearing a dress that he froze completely. The embroidery and intricate details of that dress were identical to those Yu Chuan had once made. Once, he had worn countless garments stitched by her own hands. Naturally, he knew every detail like the back of his hand. The moment he realized Yu Chuan might still be alive, Xiao Xingji was almost driven mad with joy. He boldly stopped the girl to ask, and upon learning that the owner of Jinqiu workshop was indeed Yu Chuan, his long-dormant heart began to race again. Along the way, countless questions flooded his mind. He wanted to know if she was doing well, what the truth had been back then, and if she would ever forgive him. But he had never imagined that Yu Chuan would have someone else by her side. Xiao Xingji stared fixatedly at the overlapping hands of Yu Chuan and Chu Zhon, his gaze so intense it seemed ready to burn a hole through them. Yu Chuan frowned, her heart jolting violently at the unexpected sight of Xiao Xingji. Before she could speak, Chu Zhon shot Xiao Xingji a provocative glance, his voice cold as ice. We're adjusting clothes. Who are you to question her like this? Her husband, of course. A yuan is my lawfully wedded wife. What do you think you are? Rage blazed in Xiao Xingji's eyes, and he wished he could hack Chu Zhon to pieces. Yu Chuan's brow twitched. She stepped in front of Chu Zhon without hesitation, her voice sharp. Xiao Xingji, your lawfully wedded wife is Kui Shuyao, not me. I have nothing to do with you anymore. What are you doing here? If you dare to touch Chu Zhon, I'll fight you to the death. Are you serious? Xiao Xingji felt as if he had been plunged into an ice cellar. A sharp pain stabbed his heart, and his breath caught in his throat. He had never imagined that the Yu Chuan who had once loved him so deeply would stand protectively in front of another man, even vowing to risk her life for him. Yu Chuan nodded firmly, dead serious. Her cold, unfeeling words were like a knife, piercing deeply into Xiao Xingji's heart. He bit his lip so hard it drew blood. Forcing the words out from the depths of his throat, Yu Chuan, you can only love me. He drew his sword in an instant, lunging at Chu Zhon with lightning speed. With his free hand, he grabbed Yu Chuan's wrist roughly, pulling her into his arms. The tip of the sword was inches from Chu Zhon's chest when Yu Chuan's pupils contracted sharply, her heart stopping for a beat. No, she screamed, her voice breaking with tears, but before Xiao Xingji could react, Chu Xian merely touched his hand. Suddenly, he lost control, collapsing sideways. The world spun wildly around him, and darkness swallowed him completely. Yu Chuan, those were his last, unwilling words before he closed his eyes. Chu Xian snorted softly, raising an eyebrow at Chu Zhon and Yu Chuan. How's that? Brother, sister A Yuan, I saved you. Chu Zhon wore a gentle smile, but a dark glint flickered in his eyes as he said softly, it's not just your merit, A Yuan. I helped too. He pointed to the cold silver needles protruding from Xiao Xingji's knees, a faint smile playing on his lips. Seeing this, Yu Chuan closed her eyes in disbelief, taking a long moment to accept the reality. Chu Zhon, Chu Xian, is Xiao Xingji dead? Sister A Yuan, are you worried about him? You don't want him dead, but he never respected you. never cherished you. He's nothing compared to us, especially not brother. Chu Xian pouted, looking indignant. Yu Chuan pinched the bridge of her nose, sighing helplessly. What are you talking about? I'm only worried that if he dies here, it will bring trouble to you both. After all, he has a special status. Chu Zhon gave her a reassuring look, then knelt down to pull out the 2 silver needles. Don't worry, he won't die. The poison Xiao Xian used isn't fatal, it will just keep him unconscious longer and make him feel miserable. Hearing this, she finally relaxed a little and had someone take Xiao Xingji away. Once everything had calmed down, Yu Chuan turned to the siblings, asking hesitantly, Chu Zhon, Chu Xian, do you have other identities? You finally noticed, we never meant to hide it from you. We are the so-called miracle doctor and poison maiden rumored among the people. The world is too noisy. Countless people come seeking us for fame and fortune. We just want to live in peace. So we changed our names and retreated here to seclude ourselves, Chu Zhon explained slowly. Chu Xian nodded along, then asked anxiously, Sister A Yuan, you won't resent us or stay away from us, will you? If you don't like Xiao Xingji and don't want him to approach you again, we can help drive him away. Yu Chuan couldn't help but laugh, shaking her head helplessly. Of course I won't stay away. I understand why you hid your identities. If I ever need your help, I won't hesitate to ask. Relieved by her words, Chu Zhon and Chu Xian gave her numerous self-defense medicines before reluctantly seeing her off. However, the next day, they moved into the house next door to the Yu family. Father Yu and Mother Yu were overjoyed to see them, warmly inviting them to dinner. Yu Chuan laughed helplessly but went along with entertaining them. Before the meal was over, there was a knock at the door. A servant boy appeared, looking troubled. Master, mistress, miss, there's a man at the door claiming to be heir Xiao Xingji. He says he's here to apologize sincerely, wearing thorns as penance. Should we let him in? Upon hearing this, Father Yu and Mother Yu's expressions darkened instantly. He dares to come looking for a yuan again. He's asking for death. They slammed their chopsticks down on the table. Storming toward the door in a fury, Yu Chuan looked worried, turning to Chu Zhon and Chu Xian awkwardly. I'm afraid I might need your help soon. It's nothing. This is trivial, Chu Zhon and Chu Xian said in unison, flanking Yu Chuan as they followed her outside. At the door, Xiao Xingji stood shirtless, carrying a large bundle of thorns on his back. He bowed deeply, his voice sincere. Father-in-law, mother-in-law, a yuan, I was wrong to you in the past. I made a yuan suffer so much, it's all my fault. I didn't spare a single person in the capital who hurt a yuan. They're all gone. After Kui Shuyara was thrown into prison, she endured countless tortures before drinking poisoned wine and dying. Her maid suffered the same fate with a cup of poison. As for those bandits, not one was left alive, all were hanged, burned to ashes. Not even a bone remained. Now, the only one left who hurt a yuan is me. Please, do whatever you want to punish me. I will accept it willingly. Every word he spoke was firm and resolute, his handsome face etched with earnestness. His bare chest was covered with countless scars, old and new crisscrossing each other, a shocking sight. It was clear that he had not lived well these past 3 years. Indeed, after Xiao Xingji had believed Yu Chuan was dead and avenged her, the last thread keeping him alive had snapped. Every time he carried out the Emperor's missions, he risked his life recklessly, even hoping countless times that he would die in the line of duty. But now, he was grateful for his luck. If he had died earlier, he would have never seen them again. Father Yu and Mother Yu were horrified, then filled with fear. He could be so ruthless to his once beloved childhood sweetheart. If he ever changed his mind in the future, would he be just as ruthless to them and a yuan? They dared not take that risk. They ordered the servant to drive him away. Xiao Xingji, we don't want your apology. Get out, leave now. The greatest compensation you can give us is to disappear forever. The servant hesitated, holding a stick. Father and Mother Yu snatched it from him, beating Xiao Xingji furiously to vent their anger. Cough, cough. After just a few blows, he couldn't help but cough up blood. Yu Chuan frowned, speaking up anxiously. Xiao Xingji, what's wrong with you? How could you be so weak? Stop faking it. Xiao Xingji didn't tell her the truth about his deteriorating health. He just forced a bitter smile. "A yuan, I'm happy that you care about me." Disgust surged within her, mixed with unspeakable irritation. "That's enough, Xiao Xingji. I don't care about anything related to you. Father and mother are right, I just want you to leave, to never see you again. The moment I chose to fake my death and leave on your wedding day, the Yu Chuan who loved you died. Your constant pestering now only makes me hate you more. Every time I see you, I feel sick to my stomach. So what if you punished Kui Shuyao? You're the one who truly hurt me. What right do you have to ask for my forgiveness?" Yu Chuan stared at him coldly, spitting out every cruel word. Her eyes showed no flicker of emotion at the sight of his fresh wounds from the beating. She didn't care about him anymore. This harsh truth crashed down on Xiao Xingji, sending a dense, piercing pain through his heart. He understood she would never come back to him. Bitterness spread from his heart to his lips. He struggled to move his mouth, only managing to say 3 words, "I'm sorry." He wanted to win her back, but it seemed impossible. Even seeking her forgiveness felt like a distant dream. Xiao Xingji hung his head dejectedly, his once tall and strong figure now appearing fragile and broken. Yu Chuan didn't care. She kicked him away from the door. Her voice cold as ice. "Xiao Xingji, playing the victim won't work on me. I don't want to see you again. If you keep pestering me, I will never show you any mercy." He clung stubbornly to the hem of her dress, begging over and over again, trying everything he could. "A yuan, please, torture me, punish me, do whatever you want. Just don't give up on me. I can give up everything, as long as I can stay by your side." Hearing this, Yu Chuan only found it absurd beyond measure. Looking at his desolate state now, she felt as if she were seeing her former self begging desperately for the sake of their child. Back then, he had never shown her the slightest mercy. His heart had only belonged to Kui Shuyao. If he hadn't learned the truth about her, how could he have ever regretted it? She had heard about what had happened in the capital, but she felt no pity. It was nothing more than wrongdoers getting the retribution they deserved. Yu Chuan knew clearly. Xiao Xingji had never truly loved her before. How could he have fallen in love with her only after she left? He was just unaccustomed to losing her wholehearted devotion, and filled with remorse for wronging her. The past was in the past. She had moved on to a brand new future and had no desire to linger in what was gone. Yu Chuan pulled at her hem, trying to yank it free, but he held on tightly. Before she could speak, Chu Zhon flicked a silver needle from his fingertip, pricking Xiao Xingji's wrist. In the next instant, his hand dropped limply to his side. Chu Zhon, however, only stared regretfully at the stained part of her hem. What a pity, such a beautiful dress, soiled by someone as disgusting as him. Chu Xian nodded in agreement, but when she turned to look at Xiao Xingji, her eyes were unusually cold. "Xiao Xingji, you tasted my poison yesterday. If you ever appear before Sister A Yuan again, I'll poison you once more, making you suffer 100 times more, but I won't let you die. You know I can do it." Xiao Xingji fell silent, recalling the agony he had endured the day before, yet he still insisted, "If all I have to do is take poison to stay by a Yuan's side, I'll take it voluntarily." After all, his broken body wouldn't last much longer, unless a miracle doctor was willing to treat him. But the miracle doctor was Chu Zhon, and as a fellow man, Xiao Xingji had seen at a glance Chu Zhon's feelings for Yu Chuan. Chu Zhon cared about Yu Chuan, so he would never treat him. So what was the difference between dying sooner or later? Chu Xian was furious, almost wanting to poison him on the spot. Yu Chuan, Father Yu, and Mother Yu quickly pulled her back. "Xiao Xian, don't be impulsive." Once she had calmed down, Yu Chuan frowned, speaking to Xiao Xingji without the slightest leniency. "Xiao Xingji, no matter what you do, I will never forgive you. Stop wasting your efforts." With that, she directly ordered someone to carry him away, out of sight, out of mind. For several days in a row, Xiao Xingji did not appear before Yu Chuan again. Just as she was beginning to think he had given up, he suddenly showed up at Jinqiu workshop. It had only been a few days since they last met, but he had lost a great deal of weight, gaunt and haggard, as if he were wandering loosely inside his clothes. Noticing her gaze, Xiao Xingji instinctively tried to hide, but he only took one step back before stopping. This was the best he could do to maintain his appearance. while he could still stand before her. He wanted to look at her as much as possible. Xiao Xingji pressed his lips together, remaining silent for a long time before ordering his men to carry in a heavy chest of gold. "Boss Yu, this is all a deposit. I want you to make clothes for me every day, as many as you can." When the chest was opened, the golden light almost blinded everyone around. Longing flickered in many people's eyes, but Yu Chuan remained calm, closing the chest firmly. "I'm sorry, heir. I can't take this business. Please find someone else. I don't need this money." As she spoke, she signaled to a servant to carry the chest away. Xiao Xingji grabbed the servant's hand, his voice unyielding. "A yuan. What if I insist on giving this to you? You refuse to accept my compensation. So I have no choice but to make amends this way. I don't need it. Your money makes me sick," she said impatiently, turning to leave. "A yuan." He instinctively reached out to take her hand. Trying to keep her there, Yu Chuan felt a surge of disgust, immediately sprinkling the poison Chu Xian had given her from her sleeve at him. Cough, cough. Xiao Xingji coughed violently, as if he were going to cough up his lungs. He clamped his hands tightly over his eyes, and blood seeped slowly through his fingers. Seeing this, she panicked completely. She quickly pulled him to find Chu Zhon, asking repeatedly, "Xiao Xingji, are you okay? Don't scare me." For the first time in days, a smile appeared on Xiao Xingji's face. "A yuan, finally. You care about me again. I'm so touched. Don't worry, I'm fine. It's just my eyes. At worst, I'll never see you again. If that's the price to pay for you to stay with me and take care of me, I'm willing. Dream on." Yu Chuan was utterly exasperated, shoving him hard to the ground. "Xiao Xingji, I just don't want you to die because of me. You're the emperor's right-hand man. If you die, my parents and friends will be implicated by you. You can disregard your own life and come here to seek death, but I can't, so that's it." Xiao Xingji smiled bitterly. He had foolishly thought she hadn't completely let go of him. Every slight movement sent sharp pains from his old wounds tearing through his body. He gasped for breath, struggling to speak. When Chu Zhon saw this, he walked over with a dark expression. He felt Xiao Xingji's pulse briefly. Quickly understanding his condition, it can be cured. The poison he's suffered is not life-threatening. It will dissipate soon, but his old internal injuries will take a lot of effort to treat. "How will you, cough, treat me?" Xiao Xingji forced out the words, coughing uncontrollably. Chu Zhon glanced at Yu Chuan, then offered two choices. "Xiao Xingji, I can treat you, but there's a price. If I cure you completely, I will erase part of your memory. You will forget everything about Yu Chuan. Even if you meet her on the street, you will forget everything that happened between you by the end of the day. If you want to remember everything, then I can't treat you. Choose." The entire medical clinic fell into dead silence. After a long silence, Xiao Xingji couldn't make a decision. Neither choice was easy for him. Accept treatment, and forget all about Yu Chuan. Refuse treatment, and he would only be able to stay by her side a little longer. So he gave the choice to Yu Chuan. "A yuan, you decide for me. No matter what you choose, I'll obey you. Even if you tell me to die right now, I'll do it willingly." Xiao Xingji spoke sincerely. Yu Chuan thought for only a moment before giving her answer. "Chu Zhon, treat him. In the future, every time I see him, I'll use the poison Xiao Xian gave me to torture him, repaying all the torment he once inflicted on me." "Very well." Chu Zhon and Xiao Xingji replied in unison. After they went inside for the treatment, Yu Chuan waited quietly outside. 3 days passed. Chu Zhon emerged looking exhausted, stumbling slightly. "Chu Zhon, are you okay? Are you all right?" She hurried to support him. Completely forgetting about the distinction between men and women, he leaned weakly against her, a faint smile tugging at his lips imperceptibly. "I'm a little tired, but I'm fine. Everything is over now." Yes, everything was over. Yu Chuan looked at Xiao Xingji, whose eyes held only unfamiliarity. The worry in her heart finally faded completely. From now on, his torment would begin. She handed a cup of tea to Xiao Xingji. "You must be thirsty. Drink this." He took it without the slightest suspicion. Finishing it in one gulp, he looked at her dazedly and asked, "Miss, have we met somewhere before?" "No," Yu Chuan replied. Xiao Xingji looked disappointed for a moment. then glanced at her apologetically, stood up, and took his leave, but the moment he stepped out of the medical clinic, he collapsed to the ground in agony, writhing uncontrollably. Yu Chuan was very satisfied with this result. Years later, Yu Chuan and Chu Zhon walked hand in hand at the Lantern Festival. By accident, they collided with Xiao Xingji. He stared at her blankly and asked, "Miss, have we met before?" "No," she replied, "for the countless time." They turned and walked past him. As soon as they did, Xiao Xingji spat out a mouthful of blood in pain. Looking at the bright red on his hand, he felt a sense of emptiness and loss. He turned back, but the pair of lovers, as perfect as a match made in heaven, had already disappeared into the crowd.